Hey everybody, Bill here, Blitz Mole and Fab. Hey, I want to start this video out today with a little disclaimer. I'm going to do something a little bit off the wall again, almost like when I did my refrigerator repair video. I'm going to change out the contactor in my home AC unit. So this is something that I do every year, just kind of a preventive maintenance thing that I do every year. So I change out the contactor in my unit, and I also wash the coils out, and just to clean it, just to prep for, you know, the coming summer months. I live in southern Arizona, and we're usually around 115, 118 degrees in the middle of the summer. So this is just something that I do every year so that hopefully my AC will be in good shape and it'll run real good through the summer. I don't know how good all of this video footage is going to be because I'm half in the sun and half in the shade, trying to figure out if I should wait a while till the sun moves far enough where I'm just in the shade. But I'm going to give it a shot and see if I can't do it. So one of the things I wanted to say is this is for informational purposes. I'm not an electrician. I'm not an AC tech. And you have to be very, very careful doing this. This involves electricity. You can get shocked and or killed doing this if you're not careful. So this video is mainly for informational purposes, but if you do want to try and do this, you need to know that you're doing it at your own risk, and you need to be very, very careful when you're doing it. So here goes. I'll get started. The first thing I do is go in the house on my thermostat and flip the switch and make sure that the AC unit is turned off. So it's not on cool, not on heat, and that the fan is off on the thermostat. Because what that does is that sends a signal out here to the AC to close the contacts on this contactor that I'm changing out and start your AC, and that's how it works. So the first thing that I do is that I go in and make sure that my AC is turned off. The second thing I do is I come out here, and here's my AC. I've got a train unit, and right here on the wall by my AC unit there's a box, and if you flip this box open, I don't know if you can see up in here, but there's a little T handle, and this little T handle, you take this and you remove it, and sorry about that, but it looks like this. And then you just take that, a lot of people take it, set it right up here on top of the box so that it's out of the way and that you know it's out. Sometimes this little plastic plate down here will come out. This just protects where your wires come in and tie into this block. But what you're doing is you're taking the electricity off of your AC unit. And you can see that it comes out of this box and it goes right down, the conduit goes right down, comes around here and ties right into the AC. So this is where you get started. You know, this is where you kind of start off. And so there's where the power line goes right into the bottom. And I'm going to go ahead and get a nut driver, and I'm going to take these screws. There's a screw here, there's a screw over on this side, and I'm going to remove this cover. So I'll do that and I'll be right back. Okay, so here we are. So I've got this cover off. You can see where your wires come up through here. It is dusty in here. It gets dusty. A lot of just dirt and stuff blows in here. Not really a big deal. Not much. You can clean that out if you want. And here's the information on the unit that stays in here in the unit. And here is your contactor right here. And I have a new one right up over here, and this is the contactor that I'm using. I just buy these on Amazon. You can find them all over the place. They are called a definite purpose contactor, and you have to get this one here, says 24 volt AC coil, and that's what you need to get. You need to make sure that you get the right contactor. If you've never changed this before, you can usually look at the contactor that you have in there, and mine has a sticker on it right here, and you can just look at that sticker and take the part number off of it and just order it. So here's a box for the one, you know, that I ordered. It says it's just a definite purpose contactor. It's a 2-pole, which is what you want. I use the 2 poles. Some people use a single pole, but I like the 2-pole. Because what that does is that puts your wiring where you can look and see there's one wire coming up here and coming out here, and there's another wire coming in here and coming out here. And each one of these, there's a pole inside of here. That's what they mean by 2 poles on your contactor. And when you get a signal from your AC unit, it electrifies a coil, and it pulls the coil in and makes contact with both of these poles, and it puts power across these wires. And one is for your fan motor that's up here in the top of your AC that runs your fan, and one of them is for your compressor that's inside of your AC unit. It sits right down underneath the fan down here, and that's where, like, when your pipes come out of the house and travel over this way, and this is where your I'm going crazy here with this. I have my stand on my camera, so I'm trying to move the picture around and keep it straight. But this is where your gas, this is where they put your Freon into your AC unit. So it comes out of the house, from your unit in the house, from your coil unit, where your cooling takes place with another fan motor that blows air over those coils. And then those pipes come out here and they go inside here and tie into your compressor. So earlier when I was talking about washing down the coils, inside of here there are some coils, and what these do is these circulate your Freon through these coils before they go back into the house. So it's important that you rinse these down. You don't want to use high pressure water. You just want to take a hose and just kind of, what I do is I just put my thumb on it and I fan the water up, because these are angled down. I just fan the water up into them and I just really rinse them down, you know, and I keep moving and I go all the way around my unit and I rinse those coils down. What they do is they get moisture on them as your AC is running sometimes, and then they start picking up dirt and the dirt just adheres to them. So this is a preventive maintenance measure and makes your unit run more efficient and better. And if these are plugged with leaves or grass or anything like that, then you may even have to go deeper and take these screws out here and here, take these cover screws loose. You may have to take these panels, slide these panels out and clean them. Mine's in a really good area right in the corner of my house. It just has concrete and gravel around it, so it's not a real big deal. So what I usually do to start this off is I take a picture of this. Usually with my phone, I'll just snap a picture, because what I want to do is I want to make sure I remember where all of my wires go and that they're in the right place. This here, this is a start capacitor. What this does is this holds energy, and then when this closes, this gives it a little boost to start your compressor and to start your fan. And you just have wires coming off of your start capacitor, and one goes over here to this side and one goes over to that side. One is for your compressor and one is for your fan side, and that's your start capacitor. Is just like a kind of like a jump starter for your fan and for your compressor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start removing these wires, and I'm going to pull these off on this side. I'm going to pull these off on the top, and then I'm going to loosen these screws right here, and I'm going to take these wires loose. And you can tell this is a black, this wire is a black with a blue, and the one at the top is a black with a blue. This is looks like a red. This is a dirty red. This is a dirty red wire, and this wire here is a red wire. So that tells you that you need to just make sure that you're hooking your wires up in the right place and you're hooking them back correctly together. These have little connectors on them. I actually cut those connectors, and I put them in the screws. If yours, you may have on yours where you just pull these wires off And if you'll notice, I'll show you the new contactor. If you'll notice on this contactor, where you have your screws, you know, to open this up and to put your wires in here, you also have all of these plugs. So if your wires right here have connectors on them, wire connectors on them, by all means, just unplug them and plug one here, and then go to the bottom, plug your other wire here and your other wire here. So all you're doing is taking these wires off everywhere and being careful that you get them hooked up in exactly the right spots again when you put this back in. So I'm going to start working on that. So again, all I'm doing is just taking all of these wires loose, and I've got a screwdriver that's a Klein Tools. It's a Klein Tools screwdriver, and it has a bunch of bits and things in it. So all I'm doing is just taking all these screws loose and pulling these wires out. So that's where I'm going to start off. And when you tighten up these screws, you've got to snug them down. You don't have to kill them by any means, but you do have to have them tight. You want to make these wires, you want these wires to make good connections when you put all of this back together. I don't know if you guys can really see what I'm doing. I don't think I have the camera set up in a good spot. I think I have it set up so you're kind of looking at my start capacitor. I don't know if I can get you guys in here any better. Like I said, I'm just working behind here. I'm taking these screws loose. Or trying to anyway, if I can see them, if I can get in here. So just taking these screws loose and just pulling these connections out. There we go. And so yeah, see, these were terminals that just had a little screw through them, and my contactor that I bought didn't have those, so I just went ahead and just snipped the ends right here off of them, and I stick them in here and they make contact with these. So I got a pair of pliers also that I'm pairing with just needle nose pliers. So pull my blue wire off that side, pull my yellow wire off this side. And you know, if you want at the same time, you can always take this. Sometimes I'll take this and I'll just start sticking these wires back on the new, back on the new contactor. So I've got it here. I don't know if I'm out of camera, if you guys can see this. It's real hard for me to see this on the camera in the sun. So I'll just stick this wire on this side, stick this wire on this side. I know this is where these went. So as I pull them off, I'll put these here. So, and then I'll just set my contactor down, set them down here on the wires, or set it down wherever. And then up top here, I've got a black wire on the left. So I remember that. Black wire is on the left and my red wire is on the right. So, like I said, I've just got a pair of needle nose pliers. Remember, red, right. So I've got all of my connections taken off, and now comes a fun part, is I need to get to these screws. So lengthen this screwdriver out a little bit. This is a really cool screwdriver. I like this screwdriver. So what you got to do is get back here. There's 2 screws down underneath that hold this, and they're just, these are just sheet metal screws. They hold the contactor in. So I got one of them out, and see if I can't get in here and get to this other one. Get this other one out of here. Get this whole thing to come loose. This screw's tight, really tight. That's very interesting. But it's that tight. I wonder why. So, a lot of times I'll use my DeWalt, you know, with a nut driver on it. Huh. Yeah, this one's tight and it's going in there for a long way. So, here's my old contactor. Take the screw out, get it out of the way, and here's the old contactor out. And then I'll take this new one and lift it up here and take this screw and just go back the other way. So put the screw back in here and see if we can't get going and get this thing going back in. Okay, I'm back. I had a little abrupt end, so my battery died, and I tried plugging it in, and the camera overheated. So sitting out here in the sun. So I've got this panel back on. I just put my wires back on like I showed you guys. I was in the process of doing when the camera overheated. So I put that back on, and then inside of this box I put my T-handle back in after I was all done. After I was all done everything. And then, like I said, hey, what the heck? So, close this, get this cover, if I can get this cover to close. Here we go. Close back on that box. And so, like I said, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to get a water hose, and I'm just going to go all the way around here, all the way around here, all the way around the other side. And I'm just going to take my hose and spray up into my coils, and I'll show you guys what that does. So I'll be back in a minute. Put my tools up and grab a hose. All right, I'm back. So here I am. I got the hose. I don't have a nozzle. I don't have anything on it. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to go down here and put my thumb on it. And I'm just going to take this, put my thumb on it, and just kind of run it up. Go across, run it down. See how you can see the dirt coming out at the bottom? Some of it was in the tray in the bottom, but I don't know if you can see through here. But as you're doing this, you can see water coming through on the inside. And that's what you want. What you're doing is you're just rinsing these outer coils off and just kind of cleaning anything, you know, any dirt or anything that gets stuck on them because of the moisture. I know I was going to do that, spray myself. Trying to do this with a camera is fun. So all I do is just go up and down, and I'm just going to go all the way around it. I'm going to do the coils on this side, and the other side. So I'm just going to finish washing these out, and I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. I washed down all the coils, just hosed them all down, rinsed just in here a little bit just to make sure the tray was empty. The tray in the bottom has drains that drain around the outside, so it looks pretty decent in there. If those drains are plugged and it rains, the water can build up inside of there. I don't know how high, maybe just an inch or two, might not be a big deal, but I just always try to make sure that's clean. Just spray the hose down in there, let water run through, and you'll notice that dirt comes out right down here on the edge, around the edges, around that edge and around this edge. I think there's drains on all sides if you look inside of there and look at the tray. So I've got everything put back together, and that's about all I've got. That's the PMs that I do on my preventive maintenance. I work in the power industry. They call them PMs. We change filters, we do different things, but anyway, so that's kind of the preventive maintenance issues that I do to my AC, so that, you know, hopefully I can run through the summer and not have any AC issues. I'm gonna go ahead and head back in the garage and I'm going to open up that contactor, take the screws out and open up that contactor, and just show you guys, if we can see it, how those contacts get pitted and they get messed up just from starting and stopping, opening and closing all year long while you're running your AC. So I'll be back when I get set up. Give me a few minutes. Okay, I'm back. So anyway, I'm back in the garage, got the fans running. Hopefully it's not too loud. Right now in beautiful sunny southern Arizona, it's 82 degrees. They're saying the high is supposed to be 86. Really weird that some of my friends back east, Wisconsin, just had some big snowstorms. So if you can see this, I don't know if I can zoom in too much with this. Try to move this camera around a little, the tripod. If you can see this, these are your contacts right here. And what happens is when your AC thermostat in your house sends a signal over here to the coil, there's a coil under here, and what it does is it pulls these, that coil will pull these contacts together. And if you can see that, I don't know how well you can see it, but it pulls the contacts together. And when those contacts pull together like that, it lets your power coming in from your power wires go across and go to your fan and to your compressor. I mean, or vice versa, whichever way they're hooked up, it doesn't matter. As long as they're hooked up just together, like I said, I use the same color wires across from each other. These are both power in. This is, you're gonna have to your AC contactor, you're gonna have 220 volts. And I forgot to mention earlier that if you feel more comfortable, you can always go out to your power panel. It'll either be on the side of your house or it'll be on the side of your garage. And if you open that cover up and you look at all those little breakers, up near the top somewhere, you're gonna have a breaker labeled AC unit, air conditioning unit, whatever they labeled it, however they label it, but you're gonna have an AC breaker. If you feel more comfortable, on top of taking out that pull handle that I showed you earlier, because I always take that pull handle out because it's right in front of me. My power panel is on the other side of my house, on the opposite corner of the house from the AC, so I could shut the breaker off out there, but when I'm back in the corner of the house, if something else happened and somebody walked out there and saw that breaker off and thought, oh, that's why the light in the kitchen isn't on, and flipped that breaker on, not knowing that I'm working on the AC, I could get electrocuted. So you got to be very careful. But I did neglect to mention that as a secondary isolation step for your power, when you're doing this, you can go out and shut off your AC breaker. So I'm going to keep going. I think I can figure out if I can get you guys down here. Can't figure out how I took this thing apart last time, but I actually took it all apart. I think what I have to do is I think I have to take these screws out of the inside here and to totally remove these contacts. But it's real cool to look at how these contacts are after being used. I can't remember. I believe I changed this. See that little contact pad? I don't know how well you can see it, but there's little pits on it and it's just kind of worn. It's kind of black. It should be nice and shiny, but it's not. So let me pull out this other one and we'll see if we can't get to the top of this contactor. See if we can't get to the top of this thing. Yep, this one too. See how that's all worn and black? And that's what happens when those contacts, when these contact points are being pulled in and they make contact here and here, and they just transfer power, electricity across these. And so what happens is you get this. You start getting arcing, which causes black, soot. This is just soot, but you know, I mean, if you took a file, let me see if I can grab a file. If you took a small file and you just took and filed these, or if you ever took one of these apart, you could probably pull this apart. If you really wanted to just save money, you could probably pull this thing apart and you could just take some sandpaper, or take a little file like I'm doing here, and you could smooth this out and put a little bit of shine on this, make it a little bit better surface, a smoother surface, to where when it meets with these contacts, and when these contacts close down on here, it's going to put that power right here through your wire or from your wire easier. It has an easier path when it has a nice clean contact. So that's the reason I take these things out and I change these every year, is just because, like I said, if these things get overly worn and dirty and pitted, they can actually stick. And your contacts can stick closed. They'll actually stick close together. See this one? This one's pretty worn. It's got soot and black stuff around it. And I don't know if you guys can see, but there's all kinds of little pits. And that's what happens. And once that pitting happens, it takes a lot more current to push through. See this one? This one is nice and pretty. Do I even have a flashlight? Where's my flashlight? Gotta have a flashlight somewhere around here. So I don't know if that helps get some light on that thing or not. Oh yeah, get in the camera, dude. Come on. I'm trying to do too many things at once. But anyway, you can kind of see how this one, half of this contact plate is all pretty. It's all pretty and shiny. So evidently it was just majorly making contact over on about maybe half or a little bit more than half. So that just happens to be where the contact points were making contact. I don't know exactly how these come out. Can't remember if I had to pry them out, if they're just kind of pressed in here. I mean, I don't really care what I do to this. This is the old contactor. So, and like I said, hey, there you go. There you go. There's a, oh, can you read that? Whoa, yeah. That's why I'm replacing them every year. Part of the reason, I guess. And I don't know if that's why that's sitting like that. I don't know if this contact plate wasn't in straight, or if it's just the way these things make contact. When the coil is down here. This piece right here. This is actually an electric coil, and you can see it says 24 volts. So that's what your thermostat is sending from in your house out to this when it wants to tell you that your AC needs to come on. It sends a 24 volt signal here, and that takes this coil and it energizes it, and what it does is it pulls these contacts in, and they go like this, and then your power transfers through and your AC starts. So I've babbled on enough and provided you with maybe some okay information, maybe just some useless crap. Most years when I change these, I don't even waste my time pulling these apart anymore. I've done it for many years, and on my AC unit, and it's just kind of a practice. What I will do is I will take the contactor. It has to have a 24 volt AC coil. Like I said, I use the 2-pole. They do have single poles that would be just like this, that would just be a contactor, and it would just be like this. And there's 2 places for 2 wires, places for 2 wires here, but there's only one contactor that's taking your power from your fan and your compressor and letting it go to both on the other side. They're kind of set up to where, if they have one contactor, they'll be kind of set up like this. They'll be set up so that they're a wider contact plate, but they'll be set up like this, so that you put one wire in here and one wire in here, and then over on the other side you do the same. I get the 2-pole, so that's what 2-pole means. It's just two different power poles to hook, and you have one set of contacts for your fan and one set of contacts for your compressor. So that's what I do. And like I said, if you've never changed these before, you can go in your AC unit, take off that cover plate, of course, shut the power off first, pull that cover plate off, those couple of screws, and take a picture, you know, of this sticker that's on the side of it, or use this part number. I guarantee you, if I Google 17325 contact, it's going to come up with this, and it's going to show me this exact contactor. And you can type these in on Amazon, Google, wherever you want, and you can find yourself a new contactor. And if this is something that you decide you want to try, I was really kind of scared to try it the first time I did it many years ago, and now I just kind of do it every year. Like I said, the biggest concern, make sure your power is disconnected. So that's all I've got. I hope everybody has a great day, and I hope everybody's doing well. Thanks.